It is the veteran, not the preacher, who has given us the freedom of religion.
It's the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote.
It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us the freedom of speech.
The veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to assemble.
It is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press.
It is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial.
We should all be very proud of our young men and women in the service, no matter where they serve. Thank you.
Every home run.
There's a swing and a drive out to left. Pache at the track, at the wall. It is gone!
Every strikeout.
Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three.
Whether they're home or away, every minute of every Blue Wahoos game.
And the ball game is over with one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this Wahoos franchise.
This is the home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
From local to national, they've got you covered. Every team, every sport, every game. Sports Call with Jordan and Davis starts now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. No Davis today. He's off starting his vacation. We're at that time of year where you're going to start to slowly see us just cycle into vacation mode. He's off on vacation. I believe he's going to be out this week and next week, I believe, as well.
Yeah, next week as well.
And then, and then I'm going to be out that next week after that.
Oh, really?
And then I believe the Saturday after that as well. So Sports Call is going to be a little slim pickings the next couple
weeks. I think it's going to the point where I've been on the most shows.
You really have. You've been. It's going to be Sports Call with Justin before you know it, because they're just going to give it to you and go, look, if you guys aren't going to show up, we'll just give it to Justin.
I have
He's
the best
there.
attendance record here, guys.
Yeah,
I've missed 2 shows.
But it's going to be still a lot of fun here on today's show, and obviously fall camp in full swing now. It's been going on a couple of days, so we're starting to see some pads with NFL teams. It's going to be another couple of days before we see pads with college football teams. Florida and Miami, they're getting ready for their game. They're less than a month away from that. That's going to be fun on August 24th. That is being called Week 0. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's just so weird. Why don't we just call it Week 1 and everybody else starts Week 2 and we have 13 weeks to the season?
0 means nothing's happened.
Yeah. And Florida, and the interesting thing is Florida and Miami are not the only teams playing Arizona on August 24th. Arizona is playing, I think, Hawaii on Arizona 24th. I may be wrong on who Arizona's playing, but they do get the season started off August 24th as well. So
did you say Arizona 24th?
I think I did. I just kept rolling. Kept rolling with it. I was like, nope, maybe nobody noticed, but you noticed. So yes, I did say Arizona 24th. But I think there's another game that day, and it's Arizona and I believe Hawaii. And
is that Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
It is a Saturday.
I start my first week of college that week.
Oh,
yeah.
Where are you going?
I want to do my first year at PSC.
Nice. Go Pirates.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so back in the training camp, what do you think's been the biggest popular thing that's happened so far?
The biggest popular thing that's happened so far, as far as training camp goes, as far as stuff happening for training camp, or just the NFL?
Just the NFL. Like, what do you think has been the biggest attraction so far?
Oh, it's got to be Jalen Ramsey showing up in the Brinks money truck.
No, I mean, like, not like that. I just feel like overall as a whole, like, because what I think is Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham. Like
that is, all eyes are on that situation in Cleveland, and rightfully so. I mean, it's not just Odell Beckham as well. You've got Jarvis Landry in the mix there. You've got Antonio Callaway, the former Florida Gator, in the mix. You've got Myles Garrett. Yep. You've got different great type of players on different multiple positions for the Browns, and this is going to be an interesting team to watch this year. This is either going to be a Cleveland Browns team that's fun to watch, or we're going to look at it and go, okay, if those guys can't help Cleveland, nothing's going to help Cleveland. You might as well just shut the program down and forget about it, because they're always going to be that football team. Because
I think we'll see Cleveland. Yeah,
I think we will too. I think we will too. I think we see Cleveland win their division. I think that AFC North is up for grabs because Cincinnati's going to be in the garbage can. I mean, they've got a brand new coach. We don't know what we're going to get from Big Ben. He's getting old, so we don't know really how good Pittsburgh can be. Baltimore, I'm iffy about Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. If another team wins that division, it's going to be Baltimore. Yeah. If Baltimore wins that division this year, it's going to be because of their defense, not the play of Lamar Jackson. And so I think Cleveland has the path to get to the AFC North title. And look, if that happens, this team gets into the playoffs. They have momentum. They have the talent. And in the postseason, it's not about the best team. It's about the healthiest team. If they can stay healthy and be healthy heading into the postseason, those predictions that people are making of Cleveland being in the Super Bowl or at least in the AFC Championship game, while that's still a stretch right now, you look at this team; they have the talent. If they can stay healthy, if they can stay healthy, if the coaching is there with Freddie Kitchens, which we've had him on Talk Football before, and he's ready.
That's the coolest interview we've had.
It is. Well, I don't know. We've had Bobby Bowden, Paul Feinbaum. We've had Eli Gold on as well. So there's been a lot of them. But Freddie Kitchens definitely.
But Freddie Kitchens, he's like coaching like all these stars right now.
Yeah, I would say
he's like got the spotlight on him for like, you got to make something happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Freddie Kitchens was the first active NFL coach we had. On Talk Football as an interview, and obviously I believe last week Joe and Coach had Frank Reich on there as well, so the Indianapolis Colts coach. So he's added to that list now. But it was interesting to hear Freddie Kitchens talk about this team and just how they're managing the expectations. Because look, they're well aware of what people expect from them going into the season. There are people that, especially in Cleveland fans are going, we've got all this talent, we've got a good coach. There's no reason why this should not be our year. And, he's just kind of, we want those type of expectations, even though we are the Cleveland Browns and the stigma of us is what it is inside the NFL. We want those type of expectations. And they are really embracing those expectations with the Browns. And I'm going to have fun watching this team this year. It's going to be a lot of fun keeping an eye on this team.
Yeah, it really is. When it comes to Cleveland, I just had a complete, my brain just But coming to Cleveland now, I'm excited to see what they do. But coming in the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
I'm expecting them to be in the wild card game or win their division, but I don't think they'll be a top 2 seed. So I think they'll be playing a wild card.
Right.
So when it comes to their division, you still got teams like Los Angeles Chargers. You still got teams like Kansas City. And of course the New England Patriots as well. And I still don't think they're at that caliber yet. They still got a while to go, but I want them to win at least one playoff game. I think they will win one playoff game, probably against who would that be against?
If they were to line up against a team like Jacksonville or somebody like that, they could get a playoff win. Or if, we have, look, the Colts are expected to be a very good football team, but I think Cleveland could probably hold their own against a team like Indianapolis.
Or the Texans.
Yeah, or the Texans as well, yeah. So I think that there are a group of teams out there that if the Browns pick the right draw, if, we have a situation to where they do end up playing at Jacksonville or a team like that, then, they're going to build some momentum. They're going to get that playoff win, and that's going to be great for them moving forward, even if they do get eliminated in the very next round. So I think moving forward for this Cleveland team, it's embrace the expectations, as Freddie Kitchens has said that they've done, continue to grow, continue to build, and work on these relationships. I think the chemistry that we're seeing so far with this offense is great. If you're a Cleveland fan and you're paying attention to what's going on through the first few days of training camp, you've got to be really excited about what you're seeing from the offensive side of the ball. And speaking of being excited about what you're seeing from the offensive side of the ball, if you're a Carolina fan, you got to be excited about the fact that number one is back behind center for you.
Yep.
That was going to be big for them. That was their big question there in the offseason. When they drafted Will Grier, it was, okay, Cam Newton may not be healthy, so Will Grier may have to step up year one and actually play for the Panthers some until Cam gets healthy. But it looks like he's going to be healthy for the start of the first game. And I think if I'm Carolina, I don't play Cam at all in the preseason. I'm sitting him the entire preseason. I'm saving his arm. I'm saving that shoulder as much as I can. So I'm going to play Will Grier. I'm going to play the other quarterbacks on that roster. I'm going to play those guys during the preseason, and Cam will start game one when it actually means something.
I want to go back to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Their defense. Now their defense, they have Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, he's going to be huge in their line. And then in their secondary, they got Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. Those are some pretty good. Those are three pretty significant names. I'm pretty sure all of them coming from. One's coming from Ohio State, the other one comes from Texas A&M, and the other one comes from LSU, right? Yep. And then, but their middle linebackers. See, when we did our mock draft here on the show, I'm pretty sure I had them getting at least one in their later pick, a linebacker, because they needed someone back there in that middle ground for the run game, because Myles Garrett can't do it all from the line, and then also Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward can't do all that. And see, they're still missing they still have a question mark there at their linebacker position. I want to see how it turns out for them, because I think that's the only missing piece they really have on their defense. They need a leader at their linebacker position.
No, I think you're spot on with that. I think the defense is going to be, it's been funny with Cleveland, because for the past few years their defense hasn't been that bad. It's been their offense that's turned the football over. It hasn't been able to score points, and their defense has actually, for the most part, kept them in some games. But this year, really, their defense is going to be a question mark for them. And even guys like Greedy Williams, who are going to be rookies, and we don't really know what we're going to get from them, could be the next all-around great defensive back inside the NFL, or it could be the next guy that we perceived as being an all-around great defensive back inside the NFL turns out to be a bust.
Well, let's look at the teams that they'll be facing. So, let's say they face Baltimore.
Yeah.
You have to face Lamar Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to run a lot.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is, when he passes, you have a good shot. He doesn't have the best arm, so you have two really solid DBs to go after him there. But when he runs, let's say he just stays away from Myles Garrett, what you going to do? I mean, there's a lot he could do there. But now let's say you go and face teams like Pittsburgh. Who are you going to line up against Juju Smith-Schuster? You got Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. You can double him down.
Right.
And then you got Myles Garrett coming at Big Ben. You don't really have a run game anymore because you got rid of Le'Veon Bell. Who's the other running back for Pittsburgh? James Conner. Yeah, James Conner. James Conner, he had a pretty solid season. They weren't mad about getting rid of Le'Veon Bell because he had a pretty significant season, honestly. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the Browns do this season with all this competition they come up with. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. I'm excited to see this defense under the new defensive coordinator there, Steve Wilkes for the Browns. I think he's going to be able to come in. This is a guy that kind of took over that Arizona program last year, and obviously was fired, and they wanted to clean house and start over new and fresh from the coaching staff that they had there in place before. And he goes and gets this job with Cleveland. I think eventually this Cleveland Browns defense will rise up. It may take them a few games, but I think they will rise up. Sorry, Atlanta Falcons fan, not to use your saying there, but I think they'll rise up and they'll become a better defensive team throughout the season. And we'll start to see this defense match the play of the offense. But the first few games of the year, I think Cleveland wins ball games, but they're going to have to win them as a shootout because simply like you said, the defense is just not going to necessarily be there. If you're going to face teams that are going to be running the ball, and if they run to one side, you don't have Myles Garrett there, then that's going to be able to potentially open up big running lanes for that play. So
someone has to step up.
Somebody does.
It's basically what we're saying. Someone needs to step up.
A lot of people need to step up. Yeah, a lot of people need to step up defensively for the Cleveland Browns. But I think that they have the talent there. Again, it's young talent, so it has to see how it pans out, how it plays out, and how well they work together. And like I said, going to be rough at the start, but they'll eventually put it together and move forward. But I think that Cleveland's going to be an interesting team to watch this year. I mentioned Jalen Ramsey a moment ago showing up to Jacksonville training camp in a Brinks money truck, which is just absolutely ridiculous, and we'll talk a little bit about that later in the show. But I think Jacksonville's going to be another team to keep an eye on because obviously I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this with Nick Foles, and I think that's one of the big reasons here. But I think a lot of people want to see if that 1 year where they made it to the AFC Championship game and were just a few plays away from the New England Patriots of actually playing Philadelphia in the Super Bowl that year, was that just a flash in the pan year, or are they actually
really think
legitimately
I don't
good team?
know how it happened. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how they got there.
Well, look at how they had to beat Buffalo in the postseason that year. What was it, 10-9?
It
the
was
final
a terrible
score?
game.
Yeah.
It was
It was all
game.
field goals until the fourth quarter, and then finally Jacksonville was able to score a touchdown, and that's what won them the game. So I think that, I think I agree with you on that. I don't think Jacksonville's as good as everybody seems to be playing them up to.
But Nick Foles is the legend in the playoffs. He's
is
a dark horse.
But he's got to get to the playoffs with that Jacksonville team. That's the big issue.
But who do they face in the who's in their division?
Who's in there? Well, yeah, their division is really easy outside of Indianapolis.
Exactly.
They have Houston and they have the Titans as well. I think out of that division,
and these are all teams that are like, there's question marks on all of them right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why the AFC South is just up for grabs for anyone. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like the Tennessee could have had it last year. The Texans were in the playoffs. The Colts could have been Colts were in the playoffs. The Jaguars, I mean, like, any of these teams, like, they're not terrible teams, but they're also not super good teams. And they all have question marks that they just have these missing pieces that they need to fix. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm going to give you my pick for this. I think the Colts do come out of this because Andrew Luck seems like he's second, I'm pretty sure, for odds to win MVP this year. I'm pretty sure, for the NFL. And, I mean, like, it just seems like it's theirs to lose, honestly, in my opinion. Yeah. Andrew Luck has 7-1 odds to win MVP after Patrick Mahomes, who has 4-1 odds, which is pretty big, honestly. Like, I don't know how you got that, where they got that number, but I was like, okay. It's up to you. It's up for them. It's for them to lose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Colts are the clear favorite for this division. If Jacksonville gets in, they're going to be a wild card team, which is going to be ended up probably a team that would play, as we were talking about a moment ago, with like a team like Cleveland. And you got to think, even with Nick Foles, and yes, he has the stigma of being the big-time playoff quarterback inside the NFL, I still think the talent level of Cleveland, if that is a potential playoff matchup we see, and again, this is way too far off to be talking about, playoff matchups, but if that was something that we saw in the postseason this upcoming season, I'd have to give the favorite to Cleveland in that game because just their talent alone over Jacksonville. And Jacksonville still has some issues. Jacksonville still has guys that are I don't want to say cancerous to the locker room, but if you look at the way the year ended with this whole situation between, Yeldon and Fournette and everything that happened there at the running back position and kind of putting a little bit of a rip in the locker room, I think that for this Jacksonville team, they've got a lot of off-the-field stuff that they need to deal with as well as the on-the-field stuff. And I think the best game that we're probably going to see in Jacksonville is probably going to be that Florida-Georgia game in October.
Did you know Kareem Hunt is still in Madden?
I did not, no. I mean, it makes sense because,
Does it?
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's actually kind of good because that's a good thing to bring up because they were putting the game together when he was suspended and not a part of the NFL. So what did they do? Is he on? What
team is
he? Browns.
What team is he on? I think the Browns.
Maybe they just have him as a free agent. You can pick him up if you want to.
Yeah, like if you want to play with him, just like it's the Kareem Hunt.
That would
it's
be the
the
way to do it.
Kareem Hunt option. Like,
yeah,
it's Kareem Hunt option.
That would be the way to do it. Just set him in there as a free agent if you want to pick him up and have him on your team. Add him to the roster. I mean, that would definitely be.
I don't know why he's in there. That's really confusing.
Yeah, that's definitely a good question to ask the fine folks over at EA Sports as to why they still were putting him into the game. Not that, I mean, obviously, look, he served his time. He served his suspension. Good on him. He's back in the NFL. Still has to sit out 8 games this year before he can come back and play for the Browns.
That's what I'm also waiting for.
Yeah.
See how Kareem Hunt can do with the Browns.
Yeah.
They still have Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Chubb, he's getting better and better. He was like 2 yards short of 1,000 last year. Like, he had his 1,000. And like it was in the last game of the season. He had his 1,000-yard rushing mark, and then he had a tackle for loss that put him back behind it, and so I felt so bad for the guy because he just just short on that 1,000-yard rushing yards.
But, that brings up an interesting question, though, and that's something that Freddie Kitchens and this Cleveland Browns staff on the offensive side of the ball is going to have to deal with. When you can play Kareem Hunt, how do you handle the carries? Because you're going to have Nick Chubb the entire first part of the season. Because Kareem Hunt has to sit out an exact half of a season. 8 games, that's the first half of the season. And when he comes back for that second half of the season, how do you manage carries? Do you continue to have Nick Chubb be your number one feature back and then just put Kareem Hunt in every now and then when Nick Chubb needs a break? Or do you actually try to make this a 1-2 tandem? And if you do try to just all of a sudden make it a 1-2 tandem middle of the season,
I think they're just too similar of running backs making a 1-2 tandem, honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
Similar size, similar type of body, same type of movements they have. They're so similar, in my opinion. I don't think you can make that a 1-2 tandem.
No, but still, the whole thing of, you only have one ball and having 2 running backs that are going to want to be touching the ball.
Yeah.
That's going to be the situation that they have to deal with. They have to treat that very gingerly and very carefully if they're going to have any type of success. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, you'll have more of Sports Call with Jordan and Davis, or Jordan and Justin, today on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
We know what you want. Good, healthy food that tastes great. Well, we're here to tell you it doesn't exist. Healthy food is for suckers, and if you say you like it, you're nothing but a chump. Be honest, this is what you want to eat. A gigantic burger from Steak Burger. It tastes amazing. What's in it? Who cares? How many calories? Shut up. It's awesome. So get over to Steak Burger now and get one in your belly, or you're a nerd. Feed your hunger the right way. Give it a Steak Burger, 440 East Chase Street, Pensacola.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Although Chad Brilliante is a Patriots and Red Sox fan, he is a grown axe man. Come find out why Saturday from 2 to 4 at Grizzly Axes on Davis Highway across from O'Charlie's. Grizzly Axes is an unforgettable, exhilarating team-building experience. Grab some friends, enjoy cold beer, and throwing axes at Grizzly Axes. Reserve your zone now at grizzlyaxe.com. Be a grown axe man with Chad Brilliante this Saturday from 2 to 4 at Grizzly Axes on Davis Highway.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It is 11:22 on a Tuesday, July 27th. Welcome back into Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. I'm Jordan Glass. No Davis Allen today. We do have our producer Justin hanging out with us, though, and we are hanging out and having some fun here. And Want to talk a little college football now because we are less than a month away from the start of the season.
Favorite
Week zero.
subject. Our
Week
favorite
zero.
subject.
Yep. We will probably get on this topic, and before we know it, we're having to sign off on the end of the show. But week zero coming up in, about 27 days? Yeah, something like that. And that's going to be Florida-Miami there in Orlando. Gets kicked off. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. And this is going to be an interesting game. A lot of trash talk. Not only from the players at Florida Media Days, but also from the fans on social media as well. This has the feel of a rivalry game once again, and unfortunately, only one of the teams is expected to be good this year. The other one kind of expected to be middle of the pack. But hopefully, we still get a good game.
Well, Miami it's still hit and miss always for them.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
and look, we don't know what we're going to get from Manny Diaz. He was on ESPN the other day as part of like the ESPN car wash that they do, where all the coaches travel to Bristol and they go from show to show and do interviews. And I caught him talking about the season and. Miami has a lot of high expectations for this upcoming season. They feel like they are a talented football team, but again, it's going to come down to the X's and O's and the Jimmies and the Joes. Who do you have, on the field that can line up? I mean, you've never heard that play?
No.
You've never heard it's not about the X's and the O's, but the Jimmies and the Joes?
Who's Jimmy and Joe?
It's just talking about it's not necessarily about the scheme as much as how well your players play.
Do I even look up these Jimmy and Joes?
No, you're good. You're
okay.
Good. The only one you should be concerned with is Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
But by the way, he works another job over at Jimmy John's as well, so that's where that
I actually had to
goes
deliver to my boss, Brent Lane, the other day, so that was pretty funny. I see our good friend Dave Sallin always in there. He comes in there about once a week.
I think he might have a Jimmy John's problem.
Yeah, he eats it a lot, but I mean it's not bad food.
No, it's not. It's good sandwiches. It's freaky fast.
Yeah,
and,
it's really fast actually. Like I remember I delivered to one guy the other day. He poor guy. He was like, "Wow, y'all are really fast." It was like a half mile from the shop. He's like, "Wow, y'all are fast." And like, I don't know. He was pretty old, so like he didn't know where to sign. And it's like he signed on the gratitude, like the tip line. He signed his name. I was like, I didn't even mind like that. The tip I was like, I feel bad because he could like. So I was like, have a good day. So yeah, there's a pretty funny stories there.
Yeah, it's even more freakier fast for us because we are literally.
Yeah, like it was.
You can go out the front door.
It was
and
a
see
Super
Jimmy John's.
6, a Super 6 right up the road from us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
yeah.
All
right, so yeah, that was definitely really close. But yeah, so this Florida-Miami game, getting back on track here, I think this Florida-Miami game is going to be. It's going to go one of two ways, and I know this is kind of a cliche thing to say, and I know sitting out there, you're going to hear me say this and go, yeah, well, no duh, Jordan. It's going to be one of two ways. It's either going to be a really big blowout and it's going to be embarrassing, or it's going to be a close game. And here's what I mean by a blowout. When I say it's going to be a blowout, that's only in favor of one team. I don't see Miami blowing this Florida team out.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see Florida blowing out this Miami team. I
don't either.
I see them winning by maybe 10, 17 points max. 10 points is what I'm expecting. Maybe even a 4-point game because I don't think Florida, whenever they face their first actual team and during the season, they always have some problem.
Yep.
So they always come out slow. But if they come out too and blow them out, that's going to be good for us because like this is something we've never seen before. So
here's the thing for Florida, and I'm not trying to jinx this, and Florida fans, I do apologize, and if something like this does happen, feel free to call in or text into our studio line.
We are Florida fans,
850-972-1945. Yes, we are. But there's one thing that we have to account for that seems to always happen with Florida during fall camp, and that's an injury or suspension or both happening. It always seems that Florida has a big-time player either get suspended for the first few games or get injured and have to miss the first few weeks of the season. I mean, last year we saw C.C. Jefferson go down with an injury. He missed the first few games. I mean, you look at that Kentucky game. If C.C. Jefferson
still here?
No, he's in the NFL now.
Gone.
He's in the NFL now. But if you look at that Kentucky game last year, C.C. Jefferson's playing in that game.
Yeah.
That maybe is a little bit more of an aggressive Florida defense against that Kentucky offense, and that might change a little bit the course of that game. Now, obviously, Florida's offense still struggled in that game, but still, I think if Florida's defense would have had that extra push from C.C. Jefferson, that would have made a little bit of a difference for them last year. So we always tend to see that happen with Florida where they always tend to either lose a big-time player, whether it's to injury or suspension, or sometimes they lose players to both. And that's one thing we need to keep an eye on for Florida, and I think that's going to be something that, look, if Florida goes into this Miami game healthy, I think they could probably win it by 3 touchdowns. I think I could see a 31-10 type ball game. And again, this would still be a close game, but Florida would obviously pull away in the fourth quarter and add another touchdown, and that's what would make it the 31-10 final score. But I think that for this game, it's going to be interesting to watch the factor of Tate Martell going up against this Florida defense, because we don't know what to expect from Tate Martell. That's one of the questions.
He was on, what show was he on? That QB1 show on Netflix. Went to Bishop Gorman. Bishop Gorman is one of the best high schools in the nation.
Did not lose at Bishop Gorman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They rarely do. They rarely do. I used to live in Las Vegas, and that was the school. And it's a big school too. By the way, I drove by it a couple times. It's big, but Tate Martell, he's known for having good talent, but college football talent, no, because he's not the fastest, but he's also not the biggest either. So he doesn't really have anything going for him in either of those categories, and so that's why I see how he's going to deal with Florida's defense here.
Yeah, in this Florida defense, if you think Todd Grantham is not going to be aggressive against a guy who has not played a meaningful down in college football, you need to have your brain checked, because he is going to be coming after this guy left and right. They're going to be pinning their ears back, and a lot what we saw with the Peach Bowl, with how they treated Shea Patterson, they're going to be coming off the edges trying to contain him, because while Tate Martell's not a guy that's known for using his legs, he can roll out of the pocket and make some plays, and so that's something that you do need to keep an eye on. So I think we're going to see a lot of blitz and things coming off of the edges to kind of keep him inside the pocket and let guys from the middle clean up the play. And we saw C.J. Henderson have a great Peach Bowl against Shea Patterson, and it had a few plays in the backfield there because they were coming off the edges to kind of contain Shea Patterson. I think we see something like that.
And thank the Lord, we finally beat Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm happy. I'm so happy it did, because Michigan has just beat the crap out of Florida these past couple of years. Like, what was it? The Citrus Bowl. They actually blew us out.
42-7.
And then the year before that at AT&T Stadium at the start of the season, blew us out there. We actually thought we had a game there, because we started out pretty strong, and the second half is.
And that's a game that people are going back to and talking about quarterbacks here, talking about Tate Martell for Miami, Felipe Franks on the other side. That Michigan game is a game that a lot of people are going back to, and the way Felipe Franks started that game, he made a couple of throws there that's given people are looking at that going, if we can get that type of Felipe Franks with the confidence that he finished last year with, that this Florida offense could actually have something. And you look at the receiver core for this Florida team.
He's shown us he has a powerful arm. Like against Tennessee, that Hail Mary he had a couple years ago. That was a big bomb of a throw.
Lindy Sports did their honor roll, and they did different categories of most accurate passer, strongest arm in the league. And they gave the entire SEC, they gave it to Felipe Franks because of his arm strength. And if he can give some pinpoint accuracy with that strength, this Florida offense could be something special.
Now, when it comes to accuracy in the SEC, I think it's just got to be Tua.
Oh, absolutely.
Tua's accuracy is crazy.
Tua makes some decisions that some of the throws he makes, sometimes he will throw behind a receiver, he will throw at their feet, but when he needs to just step back and fire it in there,
he also if he misses, it doesn't get picked off. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah, he only puts it to where his guy can get it. And I think that's another thing that plays into the accuracy part of that, is that his guy is the only guy that can come close to catching that football. So, but yeah, I think for this Miami game, the quarterback matchup, Tate Martell, Felipe Franks. If Felipe Franks has a great game, then I think Florida's going to be able to, build on the momentum and the confidence of him, and I think that they're going to be able to do some things. But the receiver core for Florida, if I'm the secondary for Miami,
it's gotta be good. There's no way it can't be. It has to.
I don't see how it can be bad.
It has to be good.
Yeah,
There's
you look at
no
the
way
talent there. It's
if it's not, then we need to find a new wide receiver coach. I'm just putting that out there right now. This is talent. This thing is stacked with talent.
Trayvon Grimes, Van Jefferson. You've got Jacob Copeland from right here in Pensacola. Tyree Cleveland
Caught
coming
that
back
Hail
after
Mary.
the collarbone injury he suffered last year. And you've got Kadarius Toney coming back. He's going to be wearing the Percy Harvin #1. Expected to be more of a Percy Harvin-like role in this year's offense, and kind of take a step further than what he did last year. And if you look at what he did last year, did a lot of lots of things in motions, lots of different types of reverses and things like that. So expect more misdirection with Kadarius Toney this year for Florida. I think Florida's got enough weapons offensively to where they can give Miami enough problems to where I know a lot of questions are on that offensive line. A lot of people question the offensive line of that Florida team that won the 2006 national title. They only had a combined 15 starts out of all 5 of those guys, which means each guy on the offensive line averaged 3 games, starting 3 games.
Yep.
So there was a lot of questions there. They turned out to actually be a pretty decent offensive line. I think this offensive line unit can actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a talented offensive line. And they've got they are on a great plan there with Savage, the strength and conditioning coach. The offensive line coach is doing a great job with them. I think that they can actually be a special group this year. It's going to be Florida's defense for me that's going to be the question mark heading into this season because they lost so much last season. I mean, you look C.C. Jefferson, we talked about him a moment ago. He's not there anymore. You've got C.J. Henderson back. You've got Marco Wilson back, but you lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big hit for them. David Reese out with the injury now, so that's another hit there, right there. And you know, it's a lot of things that for this Florida defense for them to have to overcome. Now, they've brought in great talent as far as transfer goes. Obviously, they got the grad transfer from Louisville who will be able to play this year. That's going to be big for them. But I think Florida's question marks for the first time in I don't know how long is actually on the defensive side of the ball, not the offensive side of the ball. So if you're Tate Martell, you're that Miami offense, you've got to be keying in on picking on those new guys in that defensive system because it's going to take them a couple of weeks to get to where they're completely working together as one cohesive unit.
Yep. And all right, now I have this list up right here of the 5 most expensive college football games to attend in 2019. All right, I want you to. I want to go through these games real quick and let's give our picks on. We're gonna give our picks on them when the week comes, but I like to give these picks right now because it's just this list.
Right.
All right. At the number 5 right now, we have Texas A&M at Clemson the rematch on September 7th. Now the lowest listing ticket is $229. That's the cheapest ticket.
Okay.
The most expensive is $1,600.
That sounds about right for that game.
Yeah.
I think it would be. But if are we picking who we think would win that game right now?
I say let's do it.
Okay. Right now I've got to go with Clemson at home. It's going to be close like last year's game was, but I've got to go with Clemson at home.
I got to go with Clemson as well. All right, now on this one's one of my most favorites. Texas is on this list twice.
Yes.
Now number 4 is going to be Oklahoma versus Texas, October 12th. And the lowest listing ticket is $286. The most expensive is $1,400.
I think that's kind of usually on par for that game. I think that's about the way it's going to be. Both of these teams are probably going to be top 10, top 15 teams. I'm actually going to go with the Longhorns in this game.
So am I. I love Sam Ellinger.
Yeah, Jalen, I don't know if Jalen has enough to give Oklahoma the production offensively that they've seen the last 2 years with Baker and Kyler. I don't know if he has it.
No.
You know, he might have improved his throwing motion, and we might have seen a little bit of that, evidence of that during the SEC championship game when he came in, making some throws that before he struggled with. But I just don't know, and obviously he's going to be going up against Big 12 defenses, so that's going to help him look a little bit better than what he is. But I just, against Texas, I don't see him being able to have that success.
Now, I also have Texas as well, but now I want to go back. Now, this third one right here is going to be a little bit of a surprise. You won't expect this one. Nebraska at Colorado, September 7th. That's the third game. The lowest listing ticket is $295. The most expensive is $1,500. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean,
this really came out of the blue for me too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably going to be a great game, but I'm going to go as far as picking this game. I'm going to go with Scott Frost and Nebraska.
Nebraska has to have this game. Colorado. That's what I'm so surprised about. How is Colorado on this list? These are some of the last
good
teams.
Team,
but not the greatest team though. You got all these solid teams. Now this one's one of my favorite games of the season. As for me, LSU at Texas, September 7th.
Yeah, I think that actually is my favorite game of the season, at least the first half of the season.
Now when we talk about the ticket listings, these are blown out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Lowest listing $300.
Hang on, wait, let me guess. 1755.
The highest
Not
listing
even close,
ticket.
Emma.
The highest listing ticket is $9,975.
That's a car.
That's a
That's
car.
A used car.
That's a car.
That is a used car. That is that. Wow. Say that again.
$9,975. Now, when I say these numbers, it doesn't mean fees are included, Jordan. It says next to it plus fees,
Which is usually about another extra $25 per ticket.
Yes.
Wow. So you're probably pushing somewhere around $10,000.
And then when you want to buy food, you want to get your
Yeah.
alcohol, you want to get all of this and that.
A hotel.
Yeah, you're looking probably about $1,500. I mean about $10,500. And let's not even forget to mention this is the number 2 game on this list.
Well, I know what the number 1 game is, and I know the ticket prices for that one, and that's ridiculous as well.
Let's give our pick on this.
Yeah, for this game, I'm gonna go. Look, everybody's buying into the Joe Burrow new offense at LSU. People are like, oh, they're gonna score 40, 50, 60 points a game. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are going to be a team that is going to be right there. They're going to be competing for 3rd or 2nd in the SEC West with Texas A&M. Maybe even Auburn, if that's thrown in the mix, then that could actually drop them down to 4th. We don't know how good Auburn's going to be or how bad they're going to be. But Texas at home, Longhorns get it.
Yep, I got Texas at home. I love Sam Allen way too much. Now, what's the highest game?
Georgia Notre Dame.
You're correct.
Yep.
All right. The lowest listing is $570, and then the highest listing is $9,000.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Wait, why is that number 1 and the other one's number? I don't know. Okay, this list kind of confused me a little bit. But the lowest listing is 570. The highest listing is 9,000. Now, why is it like this?
That's like that because it's an early season game. Both teams are going to be in the top 10. That's going to be a big time matchup. That's probably going to be College Game Day and SEC Network at both at that location together. It's probably going to be the game of the weekend.
And here's why it should be is
Yeah.
because Georgia, they need to prove some things because they thought they should have been at the playoffs over Notre Dame. But here's the thing: Georgia blew their shot of being proving themselves when they blew that game versus Texas and got blown out of the water because they were so sad and they were crying about it. Instead of going out there and proving a message, saying, "Hey, we need to prove our message." No, they sat there cried about it, saying we should be in the playoffs. No, then you got blown out by the number 15 team in the nation.
And here's the problem with that. If you look at Georgia's schedule before, they've got a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I don't think they have anybody on their schedule that's going to test them to where those questions can be answered.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. Was it last week we talked about it for Georgia? The receiver position. You're returning 9 receptions for 134 yards. That is your veteran leadership at the receiving position, and that's not good.
No.
And by the way, that's a combined. That's not just one guy with 9 catches, 134 yards. That's combined from all the returning receivers for Georgia's offense next year or for this year. So
I didn't know that. I thought it was one guy.
No.
That's scary.
Combined.
That's
combined.
Scary. That's really
They
scary.
also have issues. Again, not wishing injury on Jake Fromm. What happens if Jake Fromm goes down with a season-ending injury? Do you have a quarterback behind him? You no longer have Justin Fields. You no longer have Jacob Eason. Those guys aren't there anymore. Do you have a guy that you feel comfortable with that can step up and continue taking you to an SEC and possible national championship game? And then outside of that, the running back position, yes, you've got DeAndre Swift, who is one of the best, if not the best, running backs in the SEC in college football. But at the same time, this is also a guy who's always had another guy to kind of help carry the workload with him. Can he carry the workload by himself? He's never had to do that before. He's going to have to do that this year for Georgia. So Georgia's offense has some major question marks for him this year, and they're not going to be tested. I believe their toughest game the first couple of weeks of the season before Notre Dame is going to be Vandy. And Vandy is a team that, while, yes, they always play Georgia tough, Georgia's still probably going to take care of Vandy pretty easily. And this is going to be a game that they probably win by 20, 25 points, and then they just roll into this Notre Dame game with no real question marks or no real answers for their question marks. And what happens? They get in this game. What happens if they have to rely on the run game because Notre Dame shuts down their receiving corps?
Yep.
I mean, it's or vice versa. They have to rely on the passing game. Jake Fromm's a great passer, yes, but if he doesn't have targets to throw to that are getting open, that's going to be a long day at the office for them, and Notre Dame could embarrass them in their home stadium.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame will embarrass them in their home stadium. I got Notre Dame winning this game.
I believe it or not, I'm actually undecided on this one. I'm still trying to go back and forth. And the question marks for Georgia that we just went over are a big reason why I'm undecided, because if Notre Dame can come into this and they're clicking on all cylinders and Georgia hasn't really been tested, they don't really know what to expect. Because here's the thing. Playing a team like, I don't have their schedule here in front of me, but I believe they play a Division II school, Division II or Division III school before they play Vandy. And that can mask a lot of problems. You can look really good and against a team like Norfolk State. You can put up 50 points against those guys, and everybody's like, "Oh, the offense is fine. All those question marks people said we don't have them." And then you hit a team like Notre Dame.
Norfolk State.
Norfolk. What did I say?
Yeah, like you're saying to put up 50 against Norfolk State, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're fine."
Oh yeah,
it's Norfolk State.
Okay, yeah.
I mean Marshall.
Sorry, I thought I said Arizona 24th.
Marshall, they played Norfolk State a couple years ago, and they put 50 up on them. I'm like,
yeah.
It don't mean nothing. Yeah. Everyone's going to put 50 up on them.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll continue this discussion on the other side of the break. You're listening to Sports Call with Jordan and Justin. That's how we're saying it here on today's show on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong.
This is the Action Team. High school students and Major League Baseball players working together to train and inspire the next generation of volunteers.
I'm LaTroy Hawkins.
I'm Craig Kimbrell, and we're on the team.
The Action Team.
Our team is the Action Team. Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra-long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there.
We are broadcasters, your home for Pensacola sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Get ready to transport yourself to beautiful vineyards, sip on the smoothest spirits, and indulge in delicious cuisine when the 3rd Annual Skopelos Wine, Spirit, and Food Festival presents flavors from around the world. Sunday, July 28th at 3 p.m. Enjoy over 125 top wines and the smoothest spirits from around the world, all while learning about them from the experts. Stations will be set up throughout the ballroom featuring gourmet national and international culinary bites. Get tickets now online or at Skopelos at New World on Palafox.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, Saturday, July 27th. It's 11:46, and you are listening to Sports Call with Jordan and Davis, or Jordan and Justin, as we are calling it today, because it is Jordan Glass and Justin hanging out with you here in studio, having lots of fun, and talking some college football. And, yeah, look, this upcoming season is going to be interesting. I think there are a lot of there's a lot of things that people look at and go, oh, okay, well, here's what we're going to have because this is the way it's been. But it's going to be really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of unanswered questions that people aren't paying attention to. Georgia being one of them. I think there's some unanswered questions elsewhere. And you brought up an interesting list here, and we're going to use a couple of these love it or hate it. So we'll go ahead, and we're not going to worry about the theme song in the background today since it's just you and I together. So we'll go ahead and go over some of these for
Isn't our love it hater segment like the next segment, though?
I believe it's the 11:45 segment, isn't it?
Well, no, we're in our third segment right now.
Which would be the 11:45 segment, right? Are we off a break?
Yeah, we're off a break. See,
because we had that long break. Okay.
Yeah, because we had a really long segment earlier.
You are absolutely right. I see that. Wow, we did go way over
we
last
went
segment.
Way over.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's what happened. Like I said, that's what happens when you and I sit down and we start talking college football. That's what happens.
We'll check these for the next segment for Love or Hate It. We'll make this one a little bit shorter segment right here.
God bless floating breaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all we're gonna say. Actually, as a matter of fact, so we have enough time. Let's go ahead and take that quick timeout. I know it's back-to-back timeouts and it's usually a no-no, but we're gonna go ahead and do this. So we'll be right back right after this. Get back on track.
My favorite thing about music is it's reliable. It's always there.
It just helps me cheer up other people.
There's nothing to worry about when you do music. You're just having fun.
When I'm playing it, I'm like, wow, this is me.
And the sound just increases around you, and you just become immersed in it. You become one with it.
When you play music, you are playing life.
Whatever music means to you, just play.
Brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Chad Brillante is all about sports.
Man, you see one of those guys like Aaron Judge, I'm sure he can throw a 98-mile-per-hour fastball and all. You can't do both.
The majors, the minors, the hometown pros.
And Miguel Sano is not going to hit a home run into the lake when he was down here. Because I was like, nobody's hit the ball into the burn, pretty much into the water out there behind Palafox, and he did.
The Sports Drive, 5 to 7 weekdays on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big, flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at lq.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen. With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom. Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Every home run.
There's a swing and a drive out to left. Pache at the track, at the wall. It is gone!
Every strikeout.
Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three.
Whether they're home or away, every minute of every Blue Wahoos game.
And the ball game is over with one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this Wahoos franchise.
This is the home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome back into Sports Call, and it's time for a little love it or hate it here. We've got some interesting college football themes.
Yeah.
Could spark some debates. Let's get
Shout
into these.
Shout out to 247thesports.com for all these. All right, so we're going to start off with this little SEC. All right, since Saban will be playing Texas A&M this year, Nick Saban's winning streak versus ex-assistants ends.
I love it.
You love it? I love it as well. I think Texas A&M, if they could get this win here, we need someone to pull out the upset. Because it's been a while since we had that. Like, remember Ole Miss beating Alabama? We haven't seen that in forever, and I want to see it again. I miss seeing those games.
Yeah.
Because it just made me jump.
You're going with Texas A&M. I'm going with somebody else, but we'll talk about that a little later. Let's keep going on the list.
All right. The battle for the number 2 in the Big 12 is a 5-team race. You got teams like TCU, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and believe it or not, Baylor, who are going to be fighting for this number 2 spot.
Yeah, I would go with that. I love that. Yeah.
I love it as well, but I just don't think it'd be. I think it's Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, like.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I
think they're kind of considered.
I don't think any of these other teams can step up past those teams. All right. Justin Fields is the Big Ten's best QB despite zero career starts.
Shea Patterson coming back at Michigan. It's tough for me to give a guy who has not started a game in college football that mantle. So no, I'm gonna say I hate it.
I love it.
Okay.
I mean, I am an Ohio State fan.
By the end of the season, I will probably be seeing a different team.
Yeah, you will be seeing a difference, but I think Justin Fields, he showed that he is one of the most talented athletes in college football. I don't know what just happened to my computer. He is one of the most talented athletes in college football, and I think he has a lot to prove. But I think he's proven enough to where, like, I agree with this, and I'm excited to see it because Shea Patterson, he has a lot of question marks. He has a lot more question marks than Justin Fields, in my opinion. So I love it.
All right.
All right. All right. Let's see. We're going back up here to the top. South Carolina stops SEC's longest losing streak versus top 25 teams.
Remember how I said it wouldn't be Texas A&M that beats Alabama? I told you would think I'm crazy. This game is on the road in Columbia. Yep, go ahead and walk out. Go ahead, walk out. This game is on the road in Columbia. I'm going to say it really loud so you can hear my point from out there. It's on the road in Columbia. Alabama tends to start slow every single year. South Carolina scheduled this game in the perfect time. They're going to be able to keep it close against Alabama. Crazy things happen in night games or afternoon games in Columbia. That's exactly what this game is going to be. If they can keep it close against Alabama, they're going to have an opportunity to beat Alabama. Jake Bentley is a quarterback. Nobody is talking about that. South Carolina defense is going to be a lot more improved than what they were a year ago. Will Muschamp knows it, and you can kind of feel. I see Will Muschamp had this kind of arrogance to him going into 2012 about this Florida team because he knew how good they were. He has that same type of arrogance about this year's South Carolina team. He knows he has something special.
When he faced Saban, he had no success.
Not entirely true. It was a very close
game.
It was a
very
Florida
close
and
game.
Alabama in the swamp until John Brantley got hurt.
Exactly.
And then that completely changed the course of the game.
But they don't have that talent at South Carolina, in my opinion.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I just have a sneaky, suspicious feeling about that game.
I don't know how I feel about this, Jordan. I don't know how I feel about that. I think they will end their losing streak.
I told you were going to think I was crazy.
I think...
I told you were going to think I was crazy.
Crazy is maybe an understatement.
Well, crazy is the way you can say it on the radio without getting in trouble with the FCC.
Look, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of just like shocked. Just the thought of it. South Carolina beating Alabama.
People thought that back in, 2010 when Alabama was number 2 in the country, went into Columbia. They were like, Alabama's going to take care of this. 35-21. South Carolina took care of business that day. Steven Garcia outdueled Nick Saban and Greg McElroy.
I hate it. I mean, I hate your thought.
Yeah.
I think they're going to end it. I hope it's not against Florida, but I think Georgia. I think they beat Georgia.
Okay.
All right. Sam Ehlinger at 21 odds is best value Heisman long shot / Heisman dark horse.
I would buy that. Yeah, I'll say I love it.
I love it as well because Sam Ehlinger, he was one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch last year going in the NFL. I mean, the way he can run and how tough he was. He was tough. One of the toughest quarterbacks in the nation last year. You couldn't beat him, and that's why he beat Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, Kyler Murray got it back, but I do not see. If he's gonna be, I think he's gonna be top 3, in my opinion. I don't know if he'll win it, but I think he's gonna be top 3. All right, we're gonna move on to a little bit of the Big Ten. All right, Big Ten West. Iowa should be the Big Ten West Division frontrunner, not Nebraska.
Normally, I want to say I love it, but with no Hawkinson and no Fan at the tight end position for Iowa, that's going to cause a little bit of a decline in their passing game because those guys were their red zone targets when it came to throwing the football.
Yep.
And I think that's gonna hurt them a little bit this year. So I'm actually gonna go with Nebraska. I like Nebraska in this one, so I'm gonna say I hate that.
You hate it?
Yeah.
Nebraska, I still don't know why Nebraska's been so hyped up.
Scott,
I mean,
well,
like a lot of people have Adrian Martinez as the
Right.
number 3 favorite.
That's a little crazy, but I think
number
the
3
way,
favorite.
I think the way Nebraska showed improvement throughout the season, especially the last few weeks of the year, has given a lot of people a little bit of hope that maybe they're going to be better than what they were.
Now this one, so I hate that. I hate it. I think Nebraska, they'll be a front runner just because there's not much other competition. You have Wisconsin, but I don't think Wisconsin's much of a team right now. Now, I'm going to move on to the ACC, and the ACC and the problems they've been having with their teams, Clemson being their only powerhouse team. The ACC will only have 2 teams with 9 or more wins during the regular season.
I hate it. I don't see another team getting 9 wins. I really don't.
Oh.
I really don't. I think Florida State's probably not even going to make another bowl game. Miami might get 8. I would have to say if there is going to be another team, it's probably going to be Miami at 8, or Virginia Tech's expected to be a good football team. They could get to 9. I don't see another team inside the ACC.
Did they have 2 teams with 9 wins last year, except for Clemson?
I don't think so. If they did, it was a team that won their bowl game to get to 9 wins, and that's how they got it. But I think for the ACC, you've got a lot of parity. You've got Clemson, and then you've got a lot of teams that are jumbled together there for the rest of the conference. And I think those teams that are jumbled together are going to beat up on each other throughout the course of the season. Clemson's going to skate by.
Syracuse.
Okay.
NC State was 9-4. I don't know if they won their game.
See, I don't even think Syracuse can get 9 wins again this year. Man, I don't know. It's going to be tough for the ACC to get that done.
Here's what's screwed up. The ACC Atlantic and the ACC Coastal is so spread out.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh was our top team, was 7-7 on the ACC Coastal.
And that is.
But here's what's crazy, Jordan. Duke was second to last in that division on the ACC Coastal.
Yeah.
Because they were 3-5 in conference play, but they were 8-5 overall. That's the second. That was the highest record of the ACC Coastal, but they were the 5th place team in the ACC Coastal.
Jeez.
Yeah, I just got to text my dad. My father just texted me saying Duke. Now Duke was 8-5 last year, and Duke, I don't see them getting 9 wins this season.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, and that's going to be something to keep an eye on there for the ACC. But that music means it is time for us to close out hour number 1. We'll be back with hour number 2 coming up next, right here, ESPN 95.5.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
From local to national, they've got you covered. Every team, every sport, every game. Sports Call with Jordan and Davis starts now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome into hour 2 of Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. Or for today, it's Jordan and Justin. We are hanging out, having lots of fun. Been a football-heavy show, but with football season right around the corner, I don't think anybody's complaining about that. We are about 27 days away from college football, as Florida and Miami will get it kicked off in week 0. But do you know what's coming up next Thursday?
What's coming up next Thursday?
Hall of Fame game for the NFL.
Oh.
August 1st, yeah. We are that close to NFL preseason football, so that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And got a list here that was put out by ESPN on their social media and on their insider page, where they basically went position by position. And you hear, quarterback U, DBU, you hear all those things. And they basically kind of said, you know what, here's our rankings, and here's the way we view it. For quarterback U, they have USC, Oklahoma, and Oregon. Now, USC and Oklahoma, I will not I will not argue. I will be perfectly fine with those there. But you and I were talking before the show started about this list, and really Oregon. Who has Oregon had? And again, this list is supposed to be quarterbacks that have had success not only at the college level, but transitioned into having success at the NFL level as well. Oregon, outside of Marcus Mariota, who has really been a guy that's had success at the college level, transitioned into the NFL, and even Marcus Mariota's not really having success at the NFL level.
All right, let's look at these guys right now. All right, I'm going to go from the 90s.
Okay.
Danny O'Neal.
All right.
Tony I don't even know how to say that name. Grazioni, maybe. Akeel Smith, A.J. Feely, Joey Harrington, Jason Fife, these are some hard names, Jordan. Kellen Clemens, Dennis Dixon, Jeremiah Mascioli, Darren Thomas, Marcus Mariota, Vernon Adams, and then Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert still hasn't made it to the NFL yet.
Yeah, Justin Herbert would be probably the saving grace of that list. You look at Marcus Mariota.
You can't put him in that list yet.
Right, exactly. Now, you look just for college, then yeah, that's some pretty decent named quarterbacks. But again, they don't really have success translating into the NFL. And this is USC, Oklahoma. Again, I will agree with, but I think when you look at a team like Alabama, you look at Kenny Stabler, guys like that.
ESPN Plus posted this.
Right.
All right, so I'm looking at for USC, their notable players are Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Mark Sanchez, and Sam Darnold. Okay. And then we look at Oklahoma, and their notable players are Jason White, Sam Bradford, Baker Mayfield, and Kyler Murray. I don't know how you can put Kyler Murray on that list yet. He hasn't touched foot in the NFL yet. Now, Oregon, notable players are A.J. Feely, Joey Harrington, Marcus Mariota, and Justin Herbert. How can you put Justin Herbert on that list right now?
Maybe they're not looking at these as far as NFL. Maybe it's just for the college then.
All right, then Texas is at number 4. This is a little bit more expanded. All right, Texas is number 4. Major Applewhite, Chris Sims, Vince Young, and Colt McCoy. I think that might be that should replace Oregon, honestly, in my opinion. Then you got to look at Florida State. Chris Wanke, Christian Ponder, E.J. Manuel, and Jameis Winston. E.J. Manuel wasn't a bad quarterback. He was pretty significant, but not the best.
How about Florida? I mean, you got Steve Spurrier.
Florida's at 8. All right, here we go.
Danny Warfel, Rex Grossman, Tim Tebow.
Yeah. They goes Jesse Palmer, Rex Grossman, Chris Leak, and Tim Tebow. I guess they're going with recent.
I think. Yeah. Okay. This is since 1998, so that's the deal with this.
Good. Okay. Good thing you found that. All right. Then Auburn, their notable players are Jason Campbell, Cam Newton, Nick Marshall, and Jarrett Stidham. I think that's a top 5. That should be a top 5. For what they did at Auburn, they beat Alabama.
Cam Newton alone should bolster them up a little bit.
Yeah, and then Jarrett Stidham beat Alabama. So did Nick Marshall. Right? Did Jarrett Stidham?
Nick Marshall and Cam Newton did. I don't think Jarrett Stidham did.
Yeah. Wait. What am I saying? Jarrett Stidham did. Wait. Did Jarrett Stidham?
Jarrett Stidham just went into the NFL, so I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think
he
they
played
did
2
either.
years at Auburn, lost to Alabama in both.
Hold on, wait.
If I'm correct on that, I think.
Hold on, okay. Didn't Auburn just beat Bama 2 years ago? I'm almost certain they did.
I think they beat Alabama the year before Jarrett Stidham got there. I think that was the last time. I think Alabama's won the last 2.
Okay, you keep talking. I'm looking at this.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I think if you take a look at this list, there are some good quality teams on here that since 1998 have had very good quarterbacks that could be put a little bit above Oregon. I'm sure they probably had their reasonings. I'm sure their reasonings were sound. It's ESPN. They know what they're talking about here. But at the same time, I still USC, Oklahoma, I'm not going to argue with. Oregon, I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way right there at that spot. So I don't know.
No.
He did.
Jarrett Stidham beat him 26-14 in 2017. He was 21 for 28, 237 yards. Jalen Hurts was at the quarterback position. It was Johnson was running the ball for him, and then Davis had the most receiving yards. Yeah, they beat him 26-14.
And I stand corrected on that.
I knew I wasn't crazy.
Auburn fans and Jarrett Stidham, I do apologize on that. Wow, okay.
I would jump out of their seat.
That was a stat I did not realize. All right, let's move now to the running back.
The running back you. Okay, I have your expanded list here of the notable players here.
Okay.
All right, Alabama. See, I don't disagree with Alabama on the top of this
not
list
at all.
You have Mark Ingram, Derek Henry, and then Sean Alexander.
Yep.
All right, then at Wisconsin, you have Ron Day, Melvin Gordon, and Monte Ball. All right, then LSU, you have Leonard Fournette, Kevin Falk, and Jacob Hester.
Yep.
Oklahoma is Adrian Peterson, Sam J. Pirine, and then DeMarco Murray. That should be the two for me. If that should be, I think that should be 2. Adrian Peterson and DeMarco Murray.
I don't know. I like Wisconsin at 2. Just you look at what Ball and especially Melvin Gordon with the Chargers. He was a big part of their offense last year. So I think and what they were able to do at Wisconsin. I think because didn't Ball have like a ridiculous game where he had he had like 300 or 400 yards rushing in one game. I like Wisconsin there at 2. I really do. I really don't have any problems with the running backs with Alabama, Wisconsin, or LSU. The running backs they've had since 1998. I'm solid with this list, at least at this position.
Okay, but DeMarco Murray, he broke a record. He did break a record. Yeah, it was rushing yards for a season, right? I'm pretty sure he broke a record.
I think that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have DeMarco Murray and Adrian Peterson on that from that one school.
Right.
Both have record-breaking players. They both made history in the NFL record books.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those things, and that's the problem with these lists is these lists are totally opinionated. Somebody can look at this list and look at every position and have no problem with them. Then you can have somebody look at these lists and hate everything about each and every single one of these players in these categories that are listed. So it kind of comes down to one of those situations where it's just the person that's looking at this list, because we've probably got people yelling about teams and players at our radio right now that we're not even talking about, that aren't even on the list mentioned in the article.
Here's a school that maybe I think should be moved up. Pittsburgh's at number 6. James Conner, LaShawn McCoy, and Deion Lewis came from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I would actually go with that. You could bump them up a couple of spots.
Bump them up. I think maybe like to at least 5 over Miami. Frank Gore, Willis McGee, and then Ed Gurion James.
Yeah, I don't know about that class. That class has got some strength to it, but I don't know if it has the strength to match up with the other ones that have been listed so far.
All right, let's move over to the wide receiver U.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1, we have USC again. They are number 1 over quarterback U, and now they're number 1 in U, and the wide receiver U. Their notable players are Juju Smith-Schuster, that's a good one. Mike Williams, that's a pretty good one.
Yep.
Marquise Lee, and Dwayne Jarrett.
I'm good with that.
Yep. Ohio State is Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr., and David Boston. Florida State is Kelvin Benjamin, Rashad Green, and Peter Warrick. Oklahoma State is James Washington, Justin Blackman, and Dez Bryant. How is Dez Bryant their third player on that list? Then LSU is Odell Beckham, Michael Clayton, and Jarvis Landry. How are they not in the top 3?
Yeah, LSU should be a lot higher than I would honestly. I would put LSU at 3 and take Florida State out.
Hold on, we haven't mentioned this. Did you see that the Patriots are using their old LSU's old quarterback, Danny Etling?
Mm-hmm.
They're using him at the wide receiver spot in training camp right now. He was a quarterback in college, and now the Patriots are using him as a wide receiver.
Hey, why not? They did it with Danny.
They do it with everyone.
Yeah.
No, not Danny. Julian Edelman.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I knew it was one of the
small
guys.
But they do it with everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a cross player, a good wide receiver. I mean, they could do it with anybody.
In doubt, line them up on
and
the
that's
inside
why
and
I
throw the
still
ball.
say the Patriots are the most significant, because they make good players. They can make players. All right, Oklahoma is Marquise Brown, Ryan Broyles, Jalen Saunders, and Sterling Shepard. Okay, Florida is at 7 with Percy Harvin, Andre Caldwell, and Antonio Callaway. Michigan's number 8 with Devin Funchess, Balin Edwards, and David Terrell. Alabama is number 9. Now this one is where I think we have gone wrong.
Oh yeah, you don't even give me the names. I know the names, and yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give for those listening, Amari Cooper.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
Julio Jones and Jerry Jeudy. That's a top 5. That's top 5.
Not to mention, you could throw Waddle in on that list as well.
You could throw Waddle in there.
Yeah.
And that should be over Florida State and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Florida State has Kelvin Benjamin, Rashad Green, and Peter Warrick. And Oklahoma State has James Washington, Justin Blackman, and Dez Bryant. What's holding those names up there over Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Jerry Jeudy? Jerry Jeudy, he won the award last year, right, for best wide receiver. Yep. Julio Jones, he probably was some sort up there. He was one of the best wide receivers in the nation. Still, he's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Amari Cooper,
I would argue he is the top receiver in the NFL.
He has great argument up there. Calvin Ridley was one of the best when he played. Amari Cooper he was up for Heisman or something, wasn't he? When he played.
I think at one point he was part of the conversation.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move away from that. And Notre Dame's number 10 with Golden Tate, Will Fuller, and Michael Floyd.
Yeah, they definitely dropped the ball there with the way they have Alabama ranked on that list. I think Alabama's receiver position is right up there and should be. I know I said I'd put LSU at 3. I'm going to completely change this whole list for the receiver U position. I'm going to put, honestly, I would probably put Alabama's at 1, USC at 2, and LSU at 3. Actually, no, scratch that. Alabama 1, LSU 2, USC, I've dropped them down to 3.
I also think USC shouldn't be on this. I think Ohio State should be on there. I think Ohio State's fit at 3.
I could see that, yeah.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on. What do you want to move on to? Defense, or do you want to build a tight end U? I don't really want to go in the O-lineman U because, no, I don't really know the O-lineman.
No, yeah, and I think the same as far as the listening, it just tight ends kind of get muddled down, and not a lot of people recognize their names.
Defensive backs?
Let's go ahead and go to the defensive side of the ball, yeah.
All right, defensive back U. All right, Ohio State's at number 1. I agree with this completely. Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, Eli Apple, and Malcolm Jenkins. Sorry. Those are pretty good names. But LSU has a very strong argument with Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Matthews, and Jamal Adams.
Right.
Those are strong, strong names right there. All first-round picks, all great players, and they all have a very they're very popular in
Don't
NFL.
forget about just because those are the big name players. Don't forget about guys like Greedy Williams, who we talked about at the top.
Exactly,
of the show, Cleveland.
exactly. And he's not on this
list. Those are
list.
other guys that went to LSU.
I think LSU should be number 1.
Yeah,
honestly. But in Alabama, they also have a strong argument as well.
Yeah.
With Minka Fitzpatrick, Mark Barron, and Ha Clinton Dix.
You know the saying, iron sharpens iron?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens in Tuscaloosa because of the receivers they have going up against the DBs they have.
Yeah.
Those two groups just get better
I'm
and
pretty
better
sure
every year.
yeah, Minka lined up with Amari a lot of times, right, in joint practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Minka was one of the best DBs in the SEC when he played. Now Florida is Brennan Hargraves III, Joe Hayden, and Reggie Nelson. I think we're missing a couple players there.
Yeah, well,
Quincy Wilson, right?
You could throw Quincy Wilson in there. I think you could also throw Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in there as well. You've got Matt Elam you could put in there. There's a couple of other guys that even though his career wasn't exactly that lengthy on ball, you could probably put him on that list as well for Florida. So I think there are probably some players that are missing out there for the Gators. But yeah, that's still a solid list.
All right, now Florida State's at the 5 with Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, and Myron Rolle. Then you got Texas at number 6 with Kenny Vaccaro. All right, and then Earl Thomas, and then Quentin Jammer. USC is 7th with Adoree Jackson, Taylor Mays, and Troy Polamalu.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Troy Polamalu should be on the first name on that list.
Greatest video on YouTube. Look it up. Troy Polamalu dancing behind Erin Andrews as she's trying to do a live
Can we
break.
talk about Troy Polamalu? Like he is probably one of the best highlight reels of all.
Oh yeah.
Like holy crap, dude! Like this guy can make plays.
The greatest highlight
like,
on
he
that
was
entire
huge.
reel is when he flies over the
yeah,
top of the line.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he was huge too. He could be a linebacker if he wanted to, but he was a safety, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it. He was fast too.
He was that prototypical Steelers defensive guy. Just big and physical.
Like Mean Joe Green.
Yep.
All right, Miami. You have Kenny Phillips, Brandon Merriweather, and then Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor, that was a great DB.
Yeah.
It was really sad to see how everything happened with him. Virginia Tech, Kyle Fuller, Cam Chancellor, and D'Angelo Hall. And then Oklahoma's at the 10 with Roy Williams, Andre Woolfolk, and Zach Sanchez. These names are tripping me up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of good with the 1 through 3 of this list. Ohio State, LSU, and Alabama being the top 3. Everybody else kind of you can just put them in place where they are. I think Florida's kind of right there at number 4, nipping on the heels. But you know what? Call me crazy. I'm put Alabama ahead of LSU, and I would reorder it Ohio State, Alabama, LSU.
For the DB?
Yeah, for that would be mine at least.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Like that top 3, it's a pretty significant top 3, and not like they should all be in the top 3. I don't say Ohio State's number 1. It should definitely be LSU or Alabama. That's my opinion, but yeah.
I can just remember going back because the SEC is doing that replaying of old games, and they did the SEC or the national title game from 2006 between Florida and Ohio State. And I just remember watching that Ohio State team and the players that were in the secondary for that. You hear names being called, and you're like, Oh yeah, they did play at Ohio State, didn't they? And it's ridiculous how many defensive backs and just defensive players we have in the NFL now that played at Ohio State back then.
Yeah, and they don't get recognized that they played at Ohio State, but they're Ohio State has the forgotten college football players that go very popular in NFL. Because they were good at Ohio State, but they just seem like they get better when they go into the NFL. Because Michael Thomas, he a lot of people forget he went to Ohio State, but he got better when he went in the NFL. And same with for Marshawn Lattimore as well. He got better when he went in the NFL.
Yep.
It's just how it is. Now, do you want to move on to linebacker or defensive lineman?
Let's go ahead and do defensive lineman.
All right, these are a big list right now because there's so many of them. All right, Alabama's at number 1 with Cornelius Griffin, Antoine Odom, Terrence Cody, Marcel Darius, Ashawn Robinson, Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, Deshaun Hand, and then Quinnen Williams.
Okay.
Clemson's number 2 with Gaines Adams, Philip Merling, Ricky Stapp, Daquan Bowers, Jarvis Jenkins, Andre Branch, Grady Jarrett, Vic Beazle, Shaq Lawson, Kevin Dodd, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, and then Clinton Farrell.
No argument there.
Yeah, then Penn State's number 3. This is our first time we've heard this name today. Courtney Brown, Anthony Adams, Michael Haynes, Jimmy Kennedy, Tombe Howley, Aaron Maben, Jared Odrick, Devin Still, Carl Nassib, and then Austin Johnson. Then LSU's number 4, Booger McFarland, Marcus Spears, Kyle Williams, Glenn Dorsey, Tyson Jackson, Arden Key, Michael Brockers, and Benny Logan. And the rest of them, let's move on to Florida. Florida's at 8 with Javon Kearse, Jared Warren, Jarvis Moss, Derek Harvey, Carlos Dunlap, Sheriff Floyd, Dominique Easley, Taven Bryan, and Ja'Kai Polite.
That's a good list for Florida, and I think 8 probably is a good spot for them. Maybe you can move them up, make the argument for 7 or 6, but for that top 3, I'm going to take Penn State out and put LSU in there. I think LSU's defensive linemen are a little bit stronger than Penn State's.
Let's look at Ohio State's real quick.
Yeah.
Michael Vrabel, Ryan Pickett, Will Smith, Cam Hayward, Jonathan Hankins. That's a big name. Adolphus Washington, Joey Bosa, Sam Hubbard, Tyquan Lewis, Draymond Jones, Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. That's a top 3. That's a top 3 for me.
That is definitely okay. This list is a lot harder than any of the others.
Yeah. Joey Bosa, Draymond Jones, Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. These guys are first rounders right here, guys.
Right.
And Chase Young. I was looking at Bleacher Report's Heisman list. Their Heisman candidates. He was the only defensive player up there for winning the Heisman this year. Chase Young is coming back after a solid season at Ohio State. I'm excited to see what happens with him, but I think Ohio State should be top 3.
I could make that. I could see that argument. I would accept that argument. I think you could definitely make the case for those guys. Them LSU. I don't know. Then who would you take out of if you were to add Ohio State to the top 3? Who would you take out? Alabama, Clemson, or Penn State?
Penn State.
Okay, so if you add LSU into the mix, who else are you taking out?
No one.
No one. Okay. Okay. So you wouldn't add LSU to the mix.
No, I would not.
I like that LSU group. I think that LSU group was a group of solid defensive linemen, whether it was defensive ends or defensive tackles. I think that was a solid group of them. But Ohio State, I could definitely see putting them in there. All right, let's do linebacker U real quick, and then we'll take a quick timeout.
Okay. Linebacker U, we have Georgia's number 1 of Roquan Smith, Justin Houston, and Alec Ogletree. Alabama is C.J. Mosley, Rolando McClain, Dante Hightower. Dante Hightower is a pretty significant name there. Ohio State is A.J. Hawk, Andy Katzenmoyer. That's I think it's German. Then James Loreninus is at 3 for the Ohio State. And then USC is... Oh, my gosh. I am my reading skills are being tested today, Jordan. I don't even want... Can you help me out here?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, which one am I reading?
USC.
USC, you've got that's Ray Malaluga.
Okay.
You got Clay Matthews and Chris Claiborne. I like that one. That's a nice group. Penn State also has LeVar Arrington, Paul Polunski, and Dan Connor. it's an okay group. But that USC group is a talented group of linebackers.
Yeah.
But Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. I might switch Ohio State and USC. Maybe. I really don't know. I mean, it's kind of still solid group with Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really familiar with Ohio State's players right there.
So, I mean, overall, it's a solid listing, and it's fun to just kind of talk about. And this is a lot of the stuff we get this time of year, where it's just kind of things that are very opinionated that you can kind of debate and talk about. And
they kind of help us out on sports talk, but there's not much going on right now.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll tell you what, we do have something going on. It's called a timeout. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back with more Sports Call right after this on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Getting out of the military, I was missing this camaraderie.
It's frustrating when you try and talk to people that don't understand.
I still had the anger, I still had the addictions, but we didn't talk about that.
Came to a point where it's like, okay, I really need to talk to somebody about this.
Family more or less encouraged me, go to the VA.
It's okay to go get help. It's okay to talk to people because it takes true strength to ask for help.
Hear veterans' real stories of strength and recovery at MakeTheConnection.net.
We know what you want. Good, healthy food that tastes great. Well, we're here to tell you it doesn't exist. Healthy food is for suckers, and if you say you like it, you're nothing but a chump. Be honest, this is what you want to eat. A gigantic burger from Steak Burger. It tastes amazing. What's in it? Who cares? How many calories? Shut up. It's awesome. So get over to Steak Burger now and get one in your belly, or you're a nerd. Feed your hunger the right way. Give it a Steak Burger, 440 East Chase Street, Pensacola.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Remember those summer adventures as a kid on two wheels? Cutting loose with your buddies, enjoying freedom on those endless summer nights? Make new memories this summer with Harley-Davidson of Pensacola's Nations of Patriots Ride Lunch. Monday morning at 11. Harley's Angels will be serving free burgers, hot dogs, and drinks. Owning a Harley is easier and more affordable than ever. Discover your inner child again with the freedom that owning a Harley brings. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It is 12:25 on Saturday, July 27th. Welcome into Sports Call, or welcome back into Sports Call, I should say. We are well into hour 2 here and having a lot of fun, but we do have to mention something. We are, I believe we are 39 days away from the start of UWF football. They're going to get it kicked off September 5th on the road, taking on Carson Newman. They'll actually be playing 3 away games before they finally come home. So it's going to take a little bit of time for the Argos get back here for a home game, but it's going to be a lot of fun when they do. And, this team this year is going to be look, every team so far under Coach Shinnick has been special. They've performed really well under Coach Shinnick. to be a team that was almost 500, first year of program history. You go to the national title in year 2. Last year was some injuries kind of kept them from getting back into the postseason. If they don't get hurt, I think if they don't have a couple of key players get hurt, they're probably into the postseason last year. So I think moving forward for this UWF team, you look at them. J.C. Robles going to be more than likely the starting quarterback for this UWF football team this year. It's going to be very interesting and very fun to see what they do. And obviously, like I said, they get started here in just, I believe, about 39 or 40 days on September 5th when they take on the Carson Newman. It's going to be a road game for them. They're going to be on the road in Carson Newman as they started off last year against Carson Newman. But a lot of people just excited about this Argo team. You know, you go in Publix now, they've got their big Argo football display up. They've got their nice Argo jersey on the wall over there by UWF's campus. So it's getting that time of year. You know, fall camp's getting ready to start for them. It's just going to be a fun time when they get kicked off here and get this season underway in 2019. Expect it to be another season and another team that can make it inside the postseason. Now, you were talking about something. You had a something over there.
The Pac-12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Pac-12.
So my dad, he texted me about a couple seconds ago and said the Pac-12 committee is actually exploring the idea of having 9 a.m. football games.
To which my response, I just had to clarify, my response was going to be 9 a.m. our time or their time, because
it is 9
9
a.m. Pacific time.
Okay, obviously 9 a.m. our time for them would be like a 6 a.m. kickoff, and that would just be ridiculous.
And that'd be fun. That'd be just terrible. I'd like
still get to play under the lights.
Yeah, I mean, I want to decommit.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'd rather play the nights at playing the lights at night, not in the morning.
Yeah.
When they're still trying to warm up.
I 9 a.m. for them, it'd be about a noon kickoff for us. We are, by that time, in this part of the country, we're paying attention to the early SEC games, the early ACC games. I think that's probably good for them over on the West Coast. It probably works out for them better. But in this part of the country, that's definitely going to cause the Pac-12 to lose some viewers because, you know, we were talking about it before we came back. You know, that's the Pac-12, watching that USC-Oregon or that Cal-UCLA matchup. That is always kind of, you watch the big game on CBS, and you watch the ESPN primetime game,
you go back to
and
Fox.
then you watch that Pac-12
you go
game.
to like Fox Sports 1 or like Fox, you know, then you hear like Gus Johnson, man. You know who Gus Johnson is? The commentator?
Oh, yeah.
My favorite commentator of all of sports because he makes it exciting. What was that one game a couple years ago? Texas A&M and Texas and USC. Do you remember that game a couple years ago? It was an exciting ball game.
I remember his calls of the UCLA Texas A&M game when Josh Rosen was the quarterback at UCLA.
No, it was Texas and USC. I'm almost certain about that. I mean, he had some of the best games. That's when I first discovered how I ever actually listened and knew about Gus Johnson.
Yeah.
And he was just so exciting. It was last year on September 15th. Texas won 37-14. And it was just an exciting game. Like Texas was, they were only beating them 17-14 going into half, and then they scored 7 touchdowns in the third quarter. Then no one scored in the fourth quarter. And it was just an exciting game overall. Like he just had me on my feet. Like I just couldn't stop listening to Gus Johnson, man. Like when Gus Johnson, he always does Big 12 sports, and like he always does it on Fox or Fox Sports 1.
Right.
That's where he does his. So like if you're just for an exciting game, go to Fox or Fox Sports 1 because Gus Johnson knows how to commentate football really well, in my opinion.
He does, and he adds that entertainment value. There's a lot of guys that they want to focus on the football aspect of it, and don't get me wrong, they know the football aspect of it. They know the X's and O's as well as the Jimmies and the Joes that are on the field, and they can sit there and talk about it. But the entertainment factor is not there. Their voice and just the way they present the game, it either puts you to sleep or sounds like nails on a chalkboard. And there are certain color commentators that you just cannot. You have to mute the TV when you're watching the game because Joe Buck. Go ahead and say Joe Buck. You can say
Joe Buck.
Yeah, Joe Buck is fine. You can say Joe Buck. I think everybody out there was probably collectively in their car said Joe freaking Buck. Yeah. There are always those guys out there that you have to mute whenever you watch a game that they're calling. And you know, mute it, bring up the radio broadcast, listen to it.
It was my excitement when I found out last year because Ohio State they are my favorite team to watch for college football, and but when I found out that he was going to be doing the commentating for the Northwestern Ohio State Big Ten championship game, I was very excited. I was like, "Oh, this could be one. I'm going to love this game." And like, when Dwayne Haskins rolls out with pressure in his face, he threw that touchdown. Like Gus Johnson, and he just lit up the town, man. Like It was awesome.
See if we can pull up some Gus Johnson calls, because there's probably some people out there that have no idea.
Yeah,
we should go.
Let's go to break.
Yeah, we'll go to break. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we will actually come in. And we'll play a little. We'll kind of try to balance out the music underneath some Gus Johnson calls when we come back right here on Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. Now today, Jordan and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When Jamie Stevens got out of the Navy in 1968, he opened J&D Cleaners. With his commitment to quality cleaning at fair prices, the business grew to become the best dry cleaners in Santa Rosa County. Jimmy's son, Corey, owns J&D Cleaners now, and he shares the family commitment to excellence. J&D Cleaners has discounts for military uniforms, on-site alterations, and a convenient drive-through window at the Milton location. Trust your clothes to J&D Cleaners on Stewart Street, just north of 90 in Milton, and on Woodbine Road, just south of 5 Points and Pace. It's J&D Cleaners.
Business owners of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, listen to this important message.
This is Jeffrey, the marketing consultant for ESPN, News Radio 92.3, and Talk Radio WEBY. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you increase their business traffic and drive revenue into their doors. My service works. I design creative, attention-getting commercials that get results. It works for them and will work for you. I know what you're thinking. No one listens to commercials, right? Well, you just did. Call me, Jeffrey, 262-6000.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Although Chad Brilliante is a Patriots and Red Sox fan, he is a grown axe man. Come find out why Saturday from 2 to 4 at Grizzly Axes on Davis Highway across from O'Charlie's. Grizzly Axes is an unforgettable, exhilarating team-building experience. Grab some friends, enjoy cold beer, and throwing axes at Grizzly Axes. Reserve your zone now at grizzlyaxe.com. Be a grown axe man with Chad Brilliante this Saturday from 2 to 4 at Grizzly Axes on Davis Highway.
Every home run.
There's a swing and a drive out to left. Pache at the track, at the wall. It is gone!
Every strikeout.
Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three.
Whether they're home or away, every minute of every Blue Wahoos game.
And the ball game is over with one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this Wahoos franchise.
This is the home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Haskins pump fake. Haskins lets it go. Caught! Touchdown, Terry McLaurin. He put that ball right between the 8 and the 3. 42 yards. Partner, this kid is special. Anderson, downhill. Anderson, Mr. Anderson. 30-yard touchdown. He's 7. Thorson to throw it, drops it off underneath. Looks like a bubble screen. Caught. J.J. Jefferson with the afterburners. J.J. Jefferson down at the Michigan 1.
All right, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 right there. That is a little sample of Gus Johnson coming back in, as we were talking about.
Jeez. This kid's going to get a game ball. He's putting Willie Moscone-type English on it.
I mean, this guy is arguably the best broadcaster in not just college football, but all of sports.
Yeah, he used to do. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Kyler Murray to who was number 5 last year? I forgot, for Oklahoma. I don't think it was Marquise Brown, but this was Texas Oklahoma last year in the regular season. Right now coming up.
I'm going to show you.
And the safeties for Texas. Third down at 4. Murray deep down the field.
Oh, it was Marquise Brown.
Brown, 77. We saw him there, partner.
Yeah, if you are a young broadcaster out there and you were wanting to do color commentary, you were wanting to do play-by-play, my advice to you would be study broadcasters that do it. Study them, watch them, listen to them, how they set the plays up, how they paint the picture, and one to keep an eye on, one to follow, and one to really kind of just YouTube the crap out of.
It's Gus Johnson. Like,
because
he changes his voice from high, low, and then when he sees the big play opening, his voice raises and raises and raises. And I love listening to some Gus Johnson, man. He can make football exciting.
Are you expecting any? You know the Big Ten pretty well. Are you expecting any kind of surprises out of the Big Ten this year?
Other than Ohio State, Michigan, no. I mean, Michigan State maybe. That'd be my only one.
Now, for Michigan, I look at Michigan, and honestly and truthfully, I think Michigan's going to take a step back. I really do.
So do I. So do I.
I think that, look, Shea Patterson is coming back, and I know I mentioned him a while ago when we were doing Love It or Hate It about the Justin Fields situation. And I only said that because I cannot give Justin Fields, when we have quarterbacks that are returning inside the Big Ten, I can't give Justin Fields, I can't go, yep, he's the best quarterback, because we haven't seen him play. So let's see him play. Then I can make my prediction. You got something for us?
It's a little bit of NFL action.
Okay.
Randy Moss showed up at Patriot training camp with and Randy Moss and Brady and Mr. Randy Moss were throwing the ball around a little bit, and I'm talking about, like, look at these deep passes we got going on over here. Hold up. What's going to show up?
Let's see what you got here. Jeez, Tom Brady launching the ball.
To Randy Moss.
Yeah, well, I mean, those two are former teammates. I don't know if you can.
They broke records together.
Yeah.
You don't remember that?
Oh, yeah.
When Brady had his 50th, passing touchdown that season, and then Randy Moss had his 23rd. Both broke records on the same exact play. Do you remember that?
No, I remember it. I don't know. I don't know. There are going to be some people that see stuff like that and they go, "Oh, is Randy Moss thinking about it?"
I remember 3 years ago he actually showed it to New Orleans training camp, worked out with him, and like they interviewed Sean Payton and he said he's in better shape than he was when he retired with the 49ers.
Yeah.
Like Randy Moss has always just been a freak of nature.
Right, he's been a freak of nature, but I think, look, he's a country boy, he's a Southern boy. I think he's enjoying his time as a broadcaster, and then having the off seasons off to go fishing, and it's a little bit easier on his body. So I just don't see him trying to make a comeback. I think a lot of people. Same kind of video surfaced a couple of months ago of Tom Brady and Gronkowski throwing, and people were like, "Could this be? Could this be?" And then all of a sudden, Gronk shows up at a charity event. Looking like he needs a sandwich.
Oh my gosh!
And, it's just
he got skinny.
It's so freaky to
like,
see him that small.
I was like, oh my gosh, has he not ate?
It's uncomfortable. Yeah.
I was like, has he not ate?
But no, he is definitely not making a comeback either.
Definitely slimmed down.
And I think a lot of people want to see that because it's good quality football and it's football that you like to watch. Even if you can't stand the Patriots, when Tom Brady threw to Ron Gronkowski, you paid attention to it. You kept an eye on what was happening with
Gronkowski was probably one of the most clutch players in the playoffs. I just gotta say, like he like when Brady threw the Gronkowski, like it was the connection.
Right, and you know what? Here's the thing though: is even when he was hurt, you think he was healthy in that game against Kansas City last year in the postseason? You think he was healthy in the Super Bowl?
No.
But the biggest play of the Super Bowl, that is a big reason why the Patriots won the Super Bowl, was that Gronk catch.
Yeah.
I mean this guy was a guy that. It did not matter what condition he was in. If he was on the field,
it didn't matter how many people you had on him.
Unless you put him in the secondary, you were getting 110% from him. I still don't understand why Gronkowski is lined up in the secondary on that play. It's fourth in the ball game.
Why? I still don't know why. And like we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were doing our ESPYs nominations, And I was so mad.
Not like the guy can jump up and knock the ball down.
And I don't think, and it didn't win either. I'm pretty sure it didn't win. No, it didn't win best moment. It was something else. I forgot what won best moment this year, but I know it didn't win. And shout out to me and Davis having an argument shortly after that about the remember that argument we had, Texas A&M, LSU 7 overtime, and then
that was
Kansas City and the Rams.
I still stand by my fact that women's college basketball game was the best. With the 7 lead changes.
You were the only one who said that.
Yeah, with the 7 lead changes. That was just the way that played out. Was the
No, it was 24. 24 lead changes.
24 lead changes. That's right. 7 lead changes was the LSU Texas A&M game there in overtime. That game is still one of those games that LSU should have won that game. Obviously, the calls weren't made. But it just
it was Caitlin how do you say her name?
The gymnast.
Her perfect 10 was the best play of the year.
Okay.
And then but yeah, shout out to Davis because I was right there in Kansas City and the Rams won that game.
You guys.
We went.
We thought we were gonna have to separate.
Yeah,
you guys.
Definitely one of our best sports call moments there.
We were gonna have to send you into WEBY and have you call in.
Yeah, I
would take over running the board for the rest.
Because
of the
we
show.
were standing up there arguing with each other, and it got loud.
And it carried on into the commercial break. That's what the listeners don't know is that it actually carried on into the break. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's always great radio when we have that.
Yeah.
And if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, you get to see the energy and the passion that we bring. And look, at the end of the day, we look at this, and this is a very casual, fun, relaxing show. We're not going to get in here, and we're not going to try to be, Paul Feinbaum. We're not going to try to be Dan Patrick. We're not going to
Paul Feinbaum, he's pretty relaxing.
Well,
too.
He is, yeah.
He just gets someone to call in.
Yeah,
they do the rest.
we just kick back, relax, and we're a group of guys that sit in here every Saturday morning and we talk sports, and especially with college football season and the NFL right around the corner, it's going to get a lot more fun. And we've got some things here in the work for you that are going to be adding to that and making it even more fun. So we'll tell you more about that when the time comes. But just know that once football season gets here, it's about to get a lot more fun around here at ESPN Pensacola 94.5. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back with more. You're listening to Sports Call. We'll be back right after this.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the small bolognese.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk?
Very funny.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
Hello, I'm Senator Marco Rubio. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
This Sunday, you can browse dozens of homes that are on the market as part of the Gulf Breeze News Open House Sunday. Select homes in your price range and your neighborhoods just by picking up a copy of this week's issue of Gulf Breeze News to see a detailed map. Register at each home for a chance to win a beautiful prize basket. Gulf Breeze News Open House Sunday is sponsored by University Lending, Gulf Breeze Natural Gas, Cat Country 98.7, and News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. For details, visit online at gulfbreezenews.com.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo.
Oh, yeah.
To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Facebook and YouTube, as well as on your radio at 94.5 FM, as well as HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT. If you want to be a part of the show, we've got about 15 minutes left in the show.
I got really freaked out there. I was like, "Why is the music still playing?"
That's
and like,
happened to me
I had
before.
to
Yep.
stream up on Facebook on my phone. Hi everyone watching. Hello to the comments saying hello to me. That's my grandmother.
I know,
And
you have like you're building a fan base on
well,
Facebook.
yeah, my mother she reposted on it. She shares it on her Facebook, so all of her
Nothing
friends.
wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
We
You know,
appreciate the love and the support.
Yeah, we love the love and support. You know, we're still fairly new to the area, so we love trying to get a little more exposure as much as we can, and it helps out a lot.
Absolutely, and if anybody would like to be a part of the show, you can call or text 850-972-1945. I was hearing an echo, and I was like, is that me? And then I realized you were saying it, too. It was okay. But let's get into some college football head coaching, because we've got some guys on the hot seat, and a lot of people, especially in this area, they're focusing on Gus Malzahn. Rightfully so. Gus Malzahn on the hot seat. I think Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat as well.
Who's in the cold seat?
Dan Mullen, Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney. I think all those guys are pretty safe right now. I think those guys are safe right now as far as their job goes. And somebody who's on the extremely hot seat that nobody's really talking about is Clay Helton at USC. I think he is. Say that. No, you're thinking of Todd Herman.
Yeah, no, Todd Herman. He's in my cold seat.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you can throw him on there as
yeah,
well.
Because I think he's the guy who, he's pretty safe right now. What he's done with the program, I think he's pretty safe.
Clay Helton, on the other hand, not. No, definitely not. And he said he's focused on USC, not the outside noise. Well, buddy, you better be focused on USC, because from the way the team plays, it doesn't look like you've been focused on USC as their head coach in this entire time. And I'm just going to be careful what I say now, because you've got a bat over there. But
now, do you, like let's be real. I know you do Sports Drive, or you produce Sports
Yeah.
Drive. Do you ever just pick up stuff while you're talking to Chad and just?
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Like sometimes, because we have so much sports.
Why do you think that's sitting over there?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here, let me show you what happens. Every time he mentions UCF, I just look at him and start going.
No. That's how you like punish Chad right there.
But no, yeah, I do. I'll sit there with the football or the baseball bat. Yeah, it's just as a sports fan, this much sports equipment
you have so
and
much
sports memorabilia around.
And you can't see it. Let's go to the wide shot, show them everything else here.
We'll cut out here to the wide shot, and you can kind of see
you
inside.
See, you have our sports.
We've got football
here.
helmets. We've got footballs.
And then we
we'll
have
put it on the
back
the
there
one
as
shot
well.
over here. You can see the little bit of the stuff on the shelf. But yeah, this is a nice studio we have set up here at ESPN Pensacola 94.5, and we've got stuff all around us here, and it's a fun studio to be in and do a show in. It's like it's like. Well, I was going to say it's like a kid designed a sports radio studio, but really all the people who kind of put this together between myself, Davis, you, Chad, we're all big kids. So, yeah, a kid really did put this sports studio together.
If you're as passionate about sports as we are, you got some kid in you.
Yeah.
Because, you just love playing. You just love sports, and you just love talking about it.
Absolutely. And got a nice little Blue Angel picture there. I'm just now noticing that.
Yeah, me too. I just noticed that from 2005.
I think that might have been put up for Blue Angel weekend. It's just never been taken down. I like it there.
Yeah,
I like
it's nice.
It
shows our local.
Yeah, a little homage to the Blue Angels there as they make their home base here.
We got really off track here.
Yeah, we did. But Clay Helton is a guy that's on the hot seat, and this is a guy. I know we look at Gus Malzahn and we go, oh well, Gus Malzahn needs to win 8-9 games in order to keep his job. I think Clay Helton needs to win 7 games to keep his job. I mean, his win number is really like if he's got to just prove that he can be a competent head coach.
Someone has to step up in the Pac-12, because Pac-12 is almost getting ready to become the forgotten conference. If it's not, it already is the forgotten conference. Someone needs to step up. I don't know if it'll be USC. I know Washington used to be that team, but Washington's now falling apart. Washington State, they were there for a little bit, then they lost a couple games, and now it's just like who's going to step up? We need someone to step up, put us back in the playoffs.
Washington thinks they are going to be that team to do so this year because they have Jacob Eason at quarterback. I think they think with him at the quarterback position for them, he's going to provide that push that is going to help them with, with Coach Peterson there as their head coach, that he's going to provide that push. And I can kind of understand the excitement there. You've got Justin Herbert at Oregon, so you do have a couple of teams
but
that
the thing
can
is,
get them in the spotlight.
what does Justin Herbert have around him?
That is a very good point.
And then
That's
also,
not a lot.
yeah, and then also Jacob Eason used to be committed to Florida, then decommitted, transferred to Georgia, committed to Georgia, and didn't do anything at Georgia.
Yeah, I think, I think at Georgia, I think Kirby Smart kind of, I think it was Jake Fromm's job all along. I think they gave it to Jacob Eason because he had more, kind of more seniority there between the two. I think he'd kind of been there a little bit longer. I think because he was an early enrollee, I do believe, for Georgia. But I think Kirby Smart all along wanted Jake Fromm to be his starting quarterback. So when Jacob Eason goes down with the injury, Jake Fromm comes in. I don't think there was never really ever a favored or a clear shot for him to try to win that job back.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of, oh, well, you're out, Jake Fromm's in.
And you weren't beating Justin Fields either.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think going against an SEC defenses is what hurt Jacob Eason. I think going out in the Pac-12 playing those type teams, I think if he'd gone to a different team in the Pac-12 or a team in the Big 12, then I think he might be able to have some success. I think he's going to have some success at Washington. I think Washington's going to be an improved team with him. But the big key is, like you said with Justin Herbert, the same goes for Jacob Eason. What's around him?
Yeah. What's around him? Like,
and
there's
none of
not
the
much
Pac-12
there.
teams, you don't really look at
And see, here's the
Pac-12
thing with the
teams.
Pac-12. Like, the Pac-12, if you have one wide receiver, you can make it so far. You can make it so far. Because when Washington quarterback, Jacob Browning, right? He had Justin Ross as his wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's all they needed.
Made it to the college football
made it to college
playoffs.
football. You just need one weapon with your quarterback. You need one weapon, maybe two. Stanford had Bryce Love. Then Christian McCaffrey.
That's been the case for years. I mean, you go back to Pete Carroll when he was at USC. They had Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush with what was it, Matt Leinart?
Yeah.
That was all they needed, and they won a national title. So I think that there will be.
They made it to 2 national championships.
That is true. Yeah,
lost to Vince Young in Texas.
I think there'll be a team that steps up in the Pac-12. Will they be a college football playoff team? I don't think so. I think there's too much from the teams that we're already expecting to be a part of the conversation and teams that we see as dark horses like Texas and Florida and teams like that. I think there's too many teams there that are it's going to be kind of odd man out there. And I think until we expand the college football playoffs, we're always going to have a Power 5 team that's going to be that odd person left out.
Well,
so
see,
even
for the
past
Pac-12, for the past 2 years, it's been that way.
Yeah,
because the Big Ten and Pac-12 were both out. The Big Ten needs to be back in there because the Big Ten has the talent to be in there. With Ohio State, I think they were screwed over the past 2 years, man. The Ohio State they're one of the best teams in the nation. They just haven't been back.
Right, and Ryan Day, I think, is a coach that can kind of lead them and get them back to that position. But I mean, you have a year or two with Justin Fields, make something out of it. But if you come down to let's look at it this way, though, for the Pac-12, if you come down to the last spot for the college football playoffs and you've got a one-loss SEC team who went undefeated through the regular season, ran the gauntlet in the SEC East or the SEC West, but lost in the SEC championship game, compared to a Pac-12 champion who lost one regular season game to a UCLA or a USC or somebody like that, who are you going to put in over the other? You're going to put the SEC team in over the Pac-12 team. So even if the Pac-12, you essentially have to be undefeated.
That's
and
why
Georgia
champion. Was so upset last year.
Yeah. So for the Pac-12, it's got to be a team that's undefeated and Pac-12 conference champion that can get into the college football playoffs. Outside of that, I could see the committee putting in a Notre Dame team over a Pac-12 team. I could see them putting in a one-loss SEC team over the Pac-12 team. So
UCF,
well, I don't know about that. You got me on that one. I don't know about that. I think UCF.
Nah, I was just joking.
UCF can get there.
Yeah.
UCF can get there. But the thing for UCF to get there, they need to step up scheduling their better teams. And I know that probably going to get a text from Chad here in a little bit going, well, they played Pitt last year. Pitt was in the ACC championship game. Pitt was also, Pitt on the year 7-7?
7-7.
Yeah. So they have Stanford on their schedule this year. Central Florida plays Stanford. That's a quality.
That's
opponent.
a quality game. That
more games like that are the committee is gonna look at that and go, you know what? They play teams like that. You don't have to play. And I know a lot of people are like, well, they need to play Alabama. They need to play the teams that are in the college. No, they don't. They just need to play quality teams. Stanford's not been in a college football playoff since the system started, but that's a quality team. If that's a win for UCF, that's a quality win for them.
They would have been there if Christian McCaffrey came to Stanford 3 years later. They would have made it.
Schedule Kentucky, Tennessee, teams like that. That's still SEC caliber schools.
Yeah.
That are
South Carolina
momentum. And that's still going to gain you momentum. It's going to get you favoritism inside the committee's eyes, and it's going to give them the opportunity to get in. So they need to actually start kind of scheduling those type games and get away from the other schools that are in these smaller conferences that are outside of the AAC where UCF is a part of. So only time will tell what will happen with that. And I think another thing that could help UCF get in is if the playoffs are expanded. I mean, if the playoffs are expanded, you're looking at a situation where if you've got an undefeated UCF team that's sitting there at number 6 in the country, you expand it to where you take the top 8 teams in the country for the college football playoffs. They're getting in. There's no way to leave them out. So either one of those two ways, I think UCF can get in. So when people start talking about Central Florida playing in the college football playoff, it's not exactly that far of a weird thing to talk about. It's not that bizarre to actually have that conversation because there are things out there that can be done to allow that to happen. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year, and I do expect them to actually kind of maybe take a little bit of a step back this year. Look, Coach Heupel's done a great job, but let's be real, he kind of rode off the momentum of Scott Frost last year with the talent that Scott Frost had, and then when Mackenzie Milton went down, it was very tough for them. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see what this Central Florida brings to the table this year. And like I said earlier in the show, this 2019 season is going to be so fun because we look at it and we go, oh, it's Alabama, Clemson, it's Georgia. Those 3 teams are right there at the top. Are they really?
Yeah.
Are they really? Because Alabama and Clemson, yes, they've got the talent to be there, but Georgia has some question marks. You've got teams like Notre Dame. You've got teams like Oklahoma, Ohio State, Florida, Texas, Oregon. We don't even know what we're going to get from them.
Where's Florida starting at the preseason?
Florida, I think I saw them in the preseason polls I've seen come out so far. I don't think the official one has come out just yet.
Yeah, but the preseason polls are usually...
preseason polls, I've seen Florida, depending on the one, it's either 7 or 8. So Florida's sitting there right there inside the top 10.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. So we have Alabama, Clemson at 1.
Yep.
And then Alabama at 2.
Uh-huh.
And then it's still loading. Hold on.
I would probably say Georgia's
probably that's what I've been doing. I've been guessing. Let's see. All right, we have Ohio State at 3, Georgia at 4, Oklahoma at 5, Michigan at 6, LSU at 7, Florida at 8, and Texas at 9, Notre Dame at 10. I think Texas will go up to the top 5, Florida should be at 6, and then Michigan's going to drop down out of the top 10.
Texas at the top 5.
I love Texas as a top 5 team. Georgia, I see it at 8 eventually sometime this season. Oklahoma, I see it as around 9 at the end of the season. I don't see Michigan at all in the top 10. I see Texas A&M maybe in the top 10. Oregon, I see them drop down to the top 20.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT.